The battle for Maple Lane. It wasn't the pickup truck sprawled across my front yard that pushed me over the edge. It was the sight of Linda, the self-anointed czar of our homeowners association, twirling a spatula in one hand and clutching a tumbler of cheap Chardonnay in the other, hollering to her guests that my driveway was now the neighborhood's overflow parking lot. Her son, Travis, had just wedged his oversized, mud-caked F-150 behind her gleaming Lexus, boxing in my modest hatchback like it was a forgotten crate in a warehouse. I stood there, gripping a stack of papers for a town council meeting I was already late for, watching Travis crack open a can of beer, chuckle, and slap a VIP-only sticker on my car's hood. My knuckles whitened around the folder, the edges crumpling under the pressure. This wasn't their first stunt, but I swore it would be their last. 3 months ago, I'd moved to Maple Lane, a quiet subdivision in Cedarville, Ohio, dreaming of serene evenings and neatly trimmed hedges. Instead, I got Linda, whose ego was only outdone by Travis's utter disregard for anyone else's property. Travis didn't live here officially, but he treated my lawn and Linda's as his truck depot. Their antics ranged from annoying to outright belligerent. One morning, I caught Travis dumping motor oil into the storm drain right outside my house. When I called him out, he tossed me a half-eaten donut and said, "Relax, man. It's eco-friendly." Linda, overhearing, nodded as if he'd just invented solar power. At first, I tried diplomacy. A polite note on his windshield, a knock on Linda's door, a calm chat about respecting property lines. But diplomacy only works when the other side has a shred of humility. Linda doubled down. "We're a community," she said, her smile dripping with condescension. "You can't hoard your driveway. We all have guests, you know." When I pointed out I couldn't even leave my own house, she smirked and said, "Sounds like you need to plan better." Things festered for weeks, never quite settling. Travis kept parking wherever he pleased. Linda hosted loud, unannounced HOA gatherings that clogged the street. The HOA board, a clique of her cronies, ignored my complaints. I documented everything. Photos of Travis's truck on my grass, copies of HOA rules, even local ordinances. I held off, hoping they'd tire of their audacity. Then came the flyer. One Friday night, a garish yellow sheet appeared on every door in Maple Lane, announcing Linda's annual summer bash in her backyard, open to upstanding residents. In bold print, it instructed guests to park in nearby driveways because, as Linda wrote, community means sharing. That same evening, a blue sticky note on my mailbox read, "Mark, please clear your car from noon to 9 p.m. Saturday for our guests. Thanks, L." That was it. Not only did she expect me to surrender my driveway, but she assumed I'd comply without a word. I didn't reply. I didn't move my car. Instead, I started planning. Saturday dawned bright and sweltering. From my kitchen window, I watched Linda's backyard transform into a carnival. Travis hauled coolers from his truck and parked half on her lawn and half on mine. I sipped my coffee, observing as he returned with a portable speaker and more ice chests. By 11 a.m., cars began arriving, clogging curbs and sidewalks. Linda, in a star-spangled apron, directed traffic like a small-town general. She pointed at my driveway, and Travis backed his truck right behind my car, sealing it in. He tossed his keys onto a picnic table and fist-bumped a guest. My phone pinged a reminder for my 12:30 p.m. meeting with the town council. I'd spent months drafting a proposal to expand the community park, a project I'd already postponed twice. Missing this meeting could bury it for good. I stepped outside, keeping my voice steady, and asked Linda to move the cars, explaining my appointment. She sipped her wine, eyed me, and said, "It's just one day, Mark. Can't you reschedule again?" I insisted I needed to leave. Her smile vanished. "You always act like you're above the rules," she snapped. "Travis is set up. We're not moving because you didn't plan." I turned to Travis, who was chewing a hot dog and tossing a football. He shrugged. "Sorry, dude," he said, lobbing the ball back to his friends. I stood there stunned. My driveway was hostage to people who genuinely believed they'd done nothing wrong, as if my time, my property, and my life were less important than their party. Linda waved her spatula at me. "Go inside, Mark. You're killing the vibe." I didn't go inside. I went to my study, pulled out the HOA handbook, and printed the rule against blocking driveways. I highlighted the section on private property rights and grabbed the memory card from my security camera. I texted my friend Tom, a lawyer, with photos of the blockade. He replied instantly, "You've got a slam dunk. Call the tow company. Just make sure it's done while they're still parked." Outside, Linda cranked the music louder. Travis, now shirtless and red from the sun, was tossing beanbags and blocking the sidewalk. My driveway was a fortress, Linda's Lexus practically touching my garage door. I didn't hesitate. I dialed the tow company. 2 trucks would arrive within the hour, time to crash Linda's opening speech. If she wanted to turn my driveway into her parking lot, her guests were about to get a front-row seat to a spectacle they'd never forget. As I hung up, a strange calm settled over Minute Smug, but the quiet before a storm. Outside, the bash was in full swing. A DJ Linda probably paid in barbecue-spun, overplayed summer hits, the bass rattling my windows. Tables sagged under trays of food, coolers overflowed with drinks, and kids darted between yards, nearly toppling chairs. Linda strutted through the chaos, spatula in hand, her oversized sunglasses reflecting her self-importance. Travis, sunburned and loud, was challenging someone to a drinking game. My driveway remained barricaded, an asphalt prisoner in broad daylight. I checked the tow company's confirmation. 2 trucks, ETA 45 minutes, coordinated arrival. I gave them the vehicle details, described the setup, and offered my security footage if needed. This wasn't about vengeance. It was about being pushed so far that pushing back was the only option. And it would unfold before every neighbor, every guest, every person Linda thought she controlled. It wouldn't just be a tow. It would be theater. I pulled out the HOA handbook Linda had given me when I moved in, wrapped in a tacky bow. "Study this," she'd said. "We keep things orderly here." I hadn't read it all then, but I knew it now. Page 17, Section 5. Blocking a resident's driveway violates Code 3.1.2, subject to immediate correction and fines. I printed the page, highlighted it, and taped it to my front door with a note, "Violation documented. Action pending." A little preview of the storm. The town councilor texted, asking if we could meet later. I replied, caught in some driveway drama. "We'll update soon." He sent a laughing emoji and told me to keep him posted. At least someone was amused. Outside, the smell of charred burgers drifted over. Guests fawned over Linda's setup. One man, in a loud Hawaiian shirt, pointed at my driveway and laughed. Linda's cackle cut through the air. She raised her glass toward my house and shouted, "Mark, join us if you can lighten up." More laughter followed. I didn't bite. I checked my phone, watching the tow truck's tracking dots creep closer. At the 30-minute mark, the party started fraying. Guests questioned parking. A woman in a sundress hesitated before crossing my driveway, tiptoeing like it was a minefield. 2 teens tried squeezing another car between Travis's truck and Linda's Lexus, scraping the curb before giving up. The chaos grew, just as I'd hoped. With 15 minutes to go, I downloaded the best security footage to a USB drive and pocketed it. I snapped one last photo of the Blockadetti stamped, clear as day, and emailed it to the tow company. "For your records. Still in place." They replied, "Perfect. There is 10. I stepped outside with a glass of iced tea and leaned against my porch railing. Linda spotted me and raised an eyebrow. "Changed your mind about the party?" she called, her voice syrupy. I nodded casually. "Oh, I'll be involved soon enough." She frowned, puzzled, then turned away. Travis was dancing poorly to a bass-heavy track, sunglasses sliding down his nose, a burger in one hand, a beer in the other. Then I heard a low growl of diesel engines. 2 flatbed tow trucks rounded the corner, hazard lights flashing. They slowed in front of my house. The music didn't stop immediately. The party didn't notice at first. But when a driver stepped out, grabbing a tow hook, the mood shifted. Linda's head whipped around. Her eyes locked on the trucks. Her jaw dropped. For a moment, she froze, as if it might be a mirage. Then she sprinted toward them, arms flailing. "No, no, no. This is private property. You can't do this," she shrieked. The driver held up a clipboard. "We have the homeowner's authorization. These vehicles are illegally blocking a private driveway." Linda spun toward me, livid. "Mark, what is this?" "This is a community event." I sipped my tea. "Exactly. And I'd love to participate, but you and Travis are in my way." Travis staggered over, slurring, "Don't touch my truck, man." He tried opening his door, but the driver was already hooking the tires. The second driver, a burly man, stepped forward. "Back off, sir. You're interfering." Phones came out. One guest filmed, then another. The tow became the party's main event. Linda screamed about the HOA, calling someone on speaker. Travis tripped over a cooler, dousing himself in soda, and cursed loudly. Guests whispered, then laughed, then clapped as the trucks hoisted both vehicles. The Lexus groaned as it tilted upward. Travis's F-150 followed, leaving tire marks on my lawn. I'd bill them for later. Linda's face was crimson, her arms flailing, demanding someone stop this outrage. No one did. As the trucks pulled away, I turned to the crowd, just loud enough to be heard. "Next time, maybe include parking permits with those flyers." Laughter rippled through the guests. Linda stormed into her backyard, dragging Travis behind her, her party in ruins. My driveway was clear. But this was just the start. Linda wasn't the type to swallow humiliation quietly. The tow truck's rumble had barely faded when Linda regrouped. Her face, flushed with rage, peeked over her fence all afternoon, plotting like a general. The music stopped. The food went cold. Guests slinked away in awkward silence. One neighbor tried slicing Linda's celebratory cake, but she snapped that it was for guests only and slammed the tray shut. Her community spirit was ashes, incinerated by her meltdown. That evening, as I tidied up and prepared for my rescheduled council meeting, a letter appeared on my mailbox, scrawled in angry red marker. Notice of intent to report HOA violation for disruptive behavior. Below, in Linda's loopy handwriting, "You'll regret this, Mark." I laughed out loud. Disruptive? I'd followed every rule, given their chances to move, and documented it all. Linda didn't run on reason. She ran on fury, expecting everyone to kneel. I photographed the letter, filed it in my growing Linda dossier, and carried on. That night, Travis posted a sloppy rant on social media, claiming I'd ambushed them and ruined the neighborhood's vibe. A few buddies backed him up, but neighbors posted photos and videos of the blocked driveway and the tow. Someone spliced it into a meme with dramatic music, captioned, "When HOA Linda meets justice." It spread like wildfire. By morning, the video was semi-viral on Cedarville's community Facebook page. Even the HOA's dull online forum, usually full of lawn care tips, erupted. Some praised me for standing up to Linda's tyranny. Her allies called the two aggressive and divisive. Then someone anonymously posted the HOA bylaws, highlighting the driveway rule, with screenshots and municipal codes. The post exploded. I wasn't the only one Linda had bullied. A retired couple shared how she'd find them for a bird feeder. A young mom recounted Linda telling her visiting in-laws to park at a gas station because they didn't fit the aesthetic. The stories piled up, each more absurd than the last. Linda fought back. She called an emergency HOA meeting at the community center, aiming to address recent disruptive behavior and reinforce standards. Translation: she wanted me punished and her power restored. I went, dressed casually, carrying a folder of evidence photos, videos, bylaws, and a legal note from Tom. The room was packed, a far cry from the usual sleepy gatherings. Even the town councilor I'd met with showed up, curious and amused. Linda stormed in, clutching her handouts, blurry photos of me and screenshots of Travis's truck being towed. She opened with a speech about community values, her voice quaking with rage. Pointing at me, she accused me of orchestrating a public shaming. I raised my hand and asked to respond. The moderator, a weary board member tired of Linda's antics, nodded. I stood, passed out my documents, and walked the room through the facts, the rules, the footage, the steps I'd taken. I played a clip of Travis slurring insults while blocking my car. The room went quiet. Then someone chuckled. Others joined in. Even Linda's allies looked away. Linda, red-faced, tried shouting over the laughter, but no one listened. Her demands for my censure and fines were shot down. When she claimed I'd weaponized the tow company, someone in the back snorted, "You weaponized your Lexus first." Travis wasn't there. Rumor had it he'd been suspended from his job after his viral video brought bad press to his company's logo plastered across his chest. At the meeting's end, A resident not moved to replace the HOA leadership, targeting Linda's presidency. The motion passed overwhelmingly. A vote was set for the next week. Linda's smug facade crumbled. Her reign was unraveling. As we left, neighbors shook my hand and offered cookies, even a car wash coupon for surviving the mess. The moderator grinned and said, "About time someone challenged the chaos." I walked home lighter than I had in months. My driveway was clear. The neighborhood felt less like a battlefield. Linda was about to face accountability, and it felt good. The week before the leadership vote was a suburban thriller. Linda didn't surrender. She slipped anonymous notes into mailboxes, warning of a hostile takeover and painting me as a criminal mastermind. She avoided mentioning the toe as if ignoring it would erase her humiliation. But her emergency meeting meltdown had shifted the tide. Neighbors no longer saw a leader, just a bully who'd turned the HOA into her fiefdom. And now that I'd stood up and survived, others found their voices. Mr. Jenkins, a retired widower, brought me a bag of crumpled HOA citations Linda had issued him for unapproved porch lights and a tacky Halloween wreath. He said, deadpan, "She claimed my skeleton spooked the deer." Mrs. Carter shared that Linda had threatened to fine her toddler for chalk drawings on their driveway. The stories revealed a pattern. Linda wielded the HOA like a club, enforcing rules on a whim while ignoring Travis's violations. His truck had straddled lawns for months without a peep, but Mrs. Carter got a warning for a single potted plant. Neighbors who once avoided me now waved warmly or stopped to chat. Some apologized for staying silent. I didn't blame them. Linda's intimidation made you doubt the rules mattered when she bent them at will. But the tide had turned. The vote wasn't just about leadership, it was about ending fear's grip on Maple Lane. Linda went nuclear. The day before the vote, she hosted a unity brunch in her backyard. Travis grilled burgers, wearing a Keep Linda shirt. Banners proclaimed her devotion to tradition and order. Only her loyalists and Travis's loud friends showed up, playing cornhole like it was the Super Bowl. That night, a typed letter appeared on my door, offering to settle this like adults. Linda proposed stepping down if I publicly apologized and backed her for an advisory role. I laughed so hard that I nearly dropped it. She thought we were negotiating a treaty. I didn't respond. The vote night was electric. The community center overflowed, residents fanning themselves with agendas. I sat in the back, avoiding the spotlight. Linda swept in, Travis trailing in a too-tight blazer. She nodded at the crowd like a fading star. The moderator opened with the motion to elect new leadership. 3 fair, longtime residents were nominated. I didn't run, I just wanted peace. Linda demanded a speech. She ranted about standards and sacrifices, her voice breaking as she accused the room of falling for gossip and lies. The murmurs grew. When voting began, people filed to the ballot box in silence. Travis glared at each voter, whispering to Linda. The tally wasn't close. Linda lost in a landslide. Every board seat turned over. She stood frozen, lips tight, insisting she'd review the bylaws for irregularities. The board thanked her and asked for her clubhouse key. Outside, neighbors laughed and talked. Someone played music, and an impromptu party lasted past dark. A new board member left a note on my door, inviting me to speak at the next meeting about fairness. I smiled, setting it beside Linda's threats. The contrast was poetic. The weeks after Linda's fall were calm, almost surreal. I walked Maple Lane without her glares. Travis's truck vanished was reportedly crashing at a friend's after a blowout with Linda. His viral fame had cost him at work, with his employer weighing further action. Linda went quiet. No flyers, no notes, no speeches. Her house, once the HOA's nerve center, was dark. Even her tacky lawn flamingos were gone. Neighbors exchanged looks, waiting for her next move. The new HOA board held a town hall, open and refreshing. No lectures, no fines for trivialities. I wasn't planning to speak, but neighbors urged me. I stood and shared not about the two, but about how silence lets bullies like Linda thrive. I admitted I'd given her too many chances. Neighborhoods aren't about power, I said. They're about respect. The room applauded, not loudly, but enough. The board promised no driveway would ever be a parking lot again. Laughter followed, but the vow felt real. Days later, a moving truck parked at Linda's. Curtains twitched as neighbors watched. Travis loaded boxes, dropping a chair in frustration. Linda barked orders, still blaming the vote on a conspiracy. No one said goodbye. As the truck left, Linda scanned the street from her porch. I waved politely from my lawn chair. She froze, then vanished inside, slamming the door. Her house went up for sale, handled remotely. Neighbors joked about sending her a gift basket of tiny traffic cones. The new board threw a real block party in the community park. Tacos, music, a bounce house, no backyards, no egos. I arrived late, expecting awkwardness, but was greeted warmly. A couple thanked me, not just for the tow, but for showing them they didn't have to fear Linda. "You gave us courage," the husband said. I shrugged. All I'd done was stop being a doormat. The real change came when others did, too. As dusk fell, we took a group photo by the community sign. I wasn't just tolerated, I belonged. Not as a hero, but as someone who'd stood up when it counted. Resistance, I realized, sparks change. Back home, I sat on my clear driveway, sipping tea. The street was quiet, save for distant laughter. My car sat where it belonged. Linda's house loomed dark across the way. For a moment, I almost pitied her. Then I remembered her notes, her smugness, and Travis's truck inches from my garage. That memory grounded me. This wasn't about a driveway. It was about a community learning to live without a tyrant. No parades, no fanfare, just a clear path, a calm block, and the quiet victory of doing what's right. One well-timed tow had changed everything. What do you think? Was the tow too far, or was it the only way to stop a bully like Linda? Share your thoughts in the comments, especially on dealing with power and injustice in your own life. Where do you stand? Let's hear your perspective.